Hi, my name's Paul Arnold and I'm a qualified counselling psychotherapist. But before that I spent 27 years in the advertising world. But now I specialise in relationships. I specialise in relationships on the individual and relationships with teams and groups. And I want to share with you some learnings that inform the work I do in helping to build high-performing agency-client relationships. And I'm going to be bringing learnings from personal relationships, from what I've seen in the therapy room. And I'm going to demonstrate how those learnings apply in agency-client relationships. So when to know when to let go. A friend of mine, when at school, his father came to him and he said, "Son, when the pain of staying with your mother outweighs the pain of leaving, that's when I knew I had to go." And I think that was a very brave, courageous and profound statement to say, because what it was recognizing was the pain on both sides. It's not easy to stay, it's not easy to go. There is no easy answer. And I think there's something about, in an agency-client relationship, there's massive investment that's gone in there. To get the new agency on board, to embed them in, and who's to say the new agency is going to be any better? So sometimes we've really got to work at these current relationships rather than just easily letting go of them. But I think it slowly creeps up on you. You're starting to feel uneasy about it. Things are not going quite right. You're worrying about stuff. It's keeping you awake at night. And then one day you just have this moment of clarity where you say, I think it's time to call it. And I think when a relationship has irretrievably broken down, when trust has been decimated, when apathy and indifference just pervades the whole relationship, and there's a lack of hope of repair, then I think you need to have that courageous adult conversation where you go to the other party and say, look, I don't think it's working for us and I don't know if it's working for you. And have the conversation. Now, that doesn't mean that's over, because maybe both of you, when you discuss it some more, you realise that you both would like it to carry on. And whilst it will never go back to where it once was, you don't step in the same water twice, you may still want to say, look, let's give it another push. And I think as long as both parties want to make the effort, then by all means go to relationship counselling. That's what I do with agency clients, because you've got to both be committed to wanting to make this work to get through it. But what I would say is you've got to remember that relationships are co-created. It's never all one side or never the other side. Both parties created that relationship. And basically when it breaks up, you've got to look at what was your part in it. What did you or your team do that meant it didn't quite work out? And are those flaws that can be changed? Because you may have to do a lot of work upon your team and upon yourself about how do you move into the next relationship without bringing all those past patterns and those behaviours into the next one. Because if you don't change, it's very likely you're going to create the same dynamic again in the next relationship. So literally a lot of work needs to be done to have the courage to look at yourself and look at your team in the mirror. That's both sides. It's not just the agency side, it's not just the client side. Both sides have got to look at that. And obviously, you've got to think about how do you stop the rot before it gets so deep into the wood? Call it early is what I would say. When you're starting to have those initial gut feelings, start talking about it. Don't leave it till then. Don't leave it till the bitter end. If you're starting to feel things are starting to go off track, for goodness sake, have the courage and the openness, because it's much easier to solve closer down the line than right at the end. So you've got to put the effort and have the courageous conversations.